See, the mantra of the victim is, it's not my fault and I can't do it myself. Okay, that's the mantra of the victim. They're disempowered. They feel disempowered anyway. They feel disempowered. They've got no options. They can't problem solve or make decisions for themselves because they're a victim and they're reliant on somebody else to help them out of their role. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would anyone want to be a victim? And you'd be right, but there is a little bit of power inherent in being a victim, because you see, if I don't have to make any decisions for myself, then I also don't have to take responsibility for anything. And I can allow somebody else to take the reins. I can sit back a little bit. So there is a little bit of power in that role. Okay? Then you've got the aggressor. Okay, who's victimized the victim, keeps them in the victimhood. Okay, now the aggressor, the mantra of the aggressor is, I'll get you before you get me. Their belief of the aggressor is that the world is a dangerous, dangerous place, and I have to get mine before you take it from me. Aggressor is somebody who's really a victim as well, because it's like going, I think the whole world is shit, everyone's against me, so I have to be against them first. What does that say? Underneath, I'm feeling victimized. And again, you can be aggressive, and then sometimes you can be like, oh, maybe I was too harsh. Or maybe you can go from here, from being aggressive to, bam, now you can become the victim. You're going, everything's going wrong, like I have to deal with everything, everyone's so shit, blah, blah, blah. I wish people would just take things as seriously as I did. No one understands me, blah, 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 blah. And then before you know it, they're stuck in victim. It's a cycle. Once we're in this cycle, it's really hard to get out of this. It's a pattern. An aggressor can often be very controlling people. There's a lot of conflict. They can criticize. But the main part of the aggressor is to control some aspect from the victim. And I'm always focusing, what can I do for you and everything like that. Maybe someone who makes all the dinner for everybody and doesn't leave anything for themselves. The hero, always trying to fix things, trying to solve things, and that's their mantra. Hero needs a victim. They need someone to save, otherwise they don't feel useful. They don't feel important. Hero needs to feel important, okay, where they sit in the story. One of the things the thing that binds all these people, the only thing with the hero, their biggest weakness is that they use everybody else. They use aggressors and they use victims, and they use their energy, they're putting their energy out so much that they don't actually focus on their own issues. And if I'm so busy focusing on anyone else and I don't have time for myself, then I don't actually deal with my own insecurities and my own anxieties. And it's very convenient. So I'll continually seek out, unconsciously, I will seek out people to fight against, or I'll seek out people to save, so I don't have to deal with my own crap. It sounds like it's very noble to be a hero, but you need to be able to understand it from a more complete perspective. Now, all these people, what they have in common is that they are codependent. They need each other. Can't have one without the other. And when you get stuck in a codependency pattern like this, it's very hard to break out of. You see, we go from this, when we get stuck in these things, it's not just in a generalized term, it can happen in a conversation. Think about moments in your life right now. Think about any drama. This is a dysfunctional relationship pattern. Think about any people that you've had a conflict with. Think about where you might have been sitting, where they might have been sitting, who came to your rescue, who comes to your rescue. Very, very, very difficult to break out of this kind of patterning. The 3 levels of growth that come out of it, and this is how you get out of that cycle and you create a new cycle. Remember what I said to you? You are where you are because of what you do know and what you don't know. And I realized there was a lot I didn't know. So the role and the new identity I took on was actually, and I know it's not really like, I'm not lower, but I was a student. Who does a student seek out? A teacher. Instead of having aggressors, I had challengers. I had a challenge. So instead of the world being against me, instead of everything else going on top of me and me being a victim of everything, I was now a student of life, and I was seeking teachers to teach me. And what was going on here, these weren't aggressive things bearing down on me or oppressing me. These were challenges now. And what happens is I went through my first different cycle. The first level of growth is becoming dependent, but picking someone that you're dependent. Okay, so I became dependent on what teachers to teach me what I didn't know. So I'm seeking out people to learn from, and I went and traveled around Australia, and I traced down the best coaches in Australia to learn from them, and went to various parts around the world as well, trying to learn all the things that I needed to know. And then what happened? After I became dependent, I elevated outside of this square. Sometimes if you can't find a teacher, someone to teach you what you don't know, you look at a model and say, what do they know? Who in my environment, who in the world could teach me what they know? And then you seek them out and you can become dependent on their knowledge. After I became dependent, I elevated outside of this square. So now we're playing a different game. Now we're not playing the victim triangle game. We're playing the learning and growth game. I became coach. And as a coach, who are you seeking out? You start seeking out different people now. Now I'm still seeking out people to learn from. I'm seeking out mentors now. So they can teach me how to coach. Before I was dependent on learning a skill set. Now I've embodied it. So now I'm a coach. Okay. And again, we've still got challenges. We've got challenges which come in the shape of clients. Again, we're playing a different game now. Everything's all feeding into each other. The challenges, the people, the clients make me a better coach. The mentor helps me on my coaching. But I've already attained a skill set, which means I'm not dependent on my first people. And I can actually take care of myself in this point. So I am using these skills and these tools that I've learned, and I can apply them to myself, which makes me independent. Level two of growth is becoming independent. At the beginning, you're dependent on someone teaching you what you don't know. Once you've embodied that and you learn what you don't know, and you can actually use it on yourself, you become independent. And now, and again, remember, you're playing a different game now. You become interdependent. Okay, you may still be the coach. Okay, you might still be the coach, but you could also be the teacher. Now you're the teacher because you've learned the skills from everyone, but you've learned them so well and you embody them so well. You've got your identity is elevated even further, that now I'm teaching others, and now I'm looking for students. And then the challenges. The challenges are always going to be there. Challenges are always going to be there. The challenges are what make us grow. Okay, but here are the targets. So this could be the challenges, could be impact. How big is my impact going to be? How many lives can I touch? How big is my influence? It started off with me being in a victim cycle. I chose a new identity. And when I chose a new identity, I played a different game. When you start playing a different game and you start growing, you grow through the 3 levels. This is when you start to, I know the concepts and I'm working on them and I can improve them. I can improve the way that people are delivering this message. I've listened. The way I've just taught you those 3 things, that's not from the textbook. That's not, you won't find the elevation like that. You won't find that in many places. Okay, and that's not even a concept that was taught directly to me like that. These are a lot of things that I've noticed through reading lots of different psychological text. Okay, but again, because I've set the boundaries and I knew the identity that I was shooting for in the beginning, like I got you guys to go through then, playing a different game. I started playing a different game, and now I'm here in front of you guys teaching you about this stuff. That's how I got to here. And that's the end point.